Pokemon has had a big impact on my life, and it's really made me who I am today. And, 20 years of Pokemon it's quite the achievement. It was all started by a man named Satoshi Tajiri, who was a person with autism, and, he loved collecting things, so he thought up of a game where he collects monsters. I have autism as well, and I have to say, I have similar interests. When I was a child, I really liked collecting things. I was a big Lego fan, and, I just loved collecting things. So when I found out at the age of 7 that there was a game called Pokemon, I was like, dude, this is pretty crazy. You get to collect all these amazing monsters, and at the time I loved animals, so I was like, look at that Pokemon. It looks like an animal of some kind, and I saw interest in this series, so I was like, I have to get one of these games right now and try them out. So I went on eBay and I looked for a Pokemon game that was like at a cheap price. I figured, I was 7 years old, so I wasn't very knowledgeable. So I assumed every single Pokemon game was the same, where you have your little adventure, you're a trainer, you go out, you catch a Pokemon. So, I found this game called Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time, which was $7, so I was like, Dad, give me this. So we did. And when it shipped in and came in, I opened it up and I booted it into my DS Lite, and I was very confused. I was like, wait, I'm not a trainer, I'm not a human catching Pokemon? What is this? Why am I the Pokemon? Why do I have a partner as a Pokemon as well? So that was very confusing to me. I was like, very confused. And actually, eventually, of course, I was 7 years old, so I honestly can't be that good at a video game. So I actually rage quit on the quote-unquote Groudon boss fight. Because I think I picked a fire type at that time. I think I picked Chimchar, or Charmander or something. And I just, that was a very poor matchup, of course, and I just raged and quit. And very recently, I think about a year ago, I picked it back up and beat it. Very emotional game, to tell you the truth. But anyway, back to my story. So, when I quit the game, I decided, hey, I'll just take my own money. I got about $20. Take my own money. I'll go to GameStop. I'll go to the mall. I'll go to GameStop tomorrow, and I'll go buy me an actual Pokemon game. So the next day, which I think was a Saturday, I went to GameStop with my dad, and I bought a game called Pokemon Pearl, which is alongside Diamond, the 4th generation Pokemon game. So I bought it for $20, and I was walking out of the store. It came in the box and everything. It came in the box, in the case, I should say. And I opened it up, to make sure, because my parents, and as well as I, always want to make sure that, of course, my game's in there before we get all the way home and find out it's not the right game, or it's not the game's not there in general. So I opened it up, and I found a different Pokemon game by the name of Pokemon Diamond. So me and my dad decided, that's cool and all, but that's just not what I, bought. So I returned it, and I bought Pearl instead. And I got a copy, and as you can see in the on the screen, it looks like a dog chewed it up, and that's exactly what it was. But it worked, and that's all that really matters in the end. So I bought Pearl, and I took it home, played it, loved the heck out of it. And then I think at this point they released Pokemon Platinum, or maybe it was already out, I can't remember. I think it just came out after I beat Pearl. I think it just came out. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen like the unlocked games on eBay. I'm pretty sure you guys remember them, like the games where they like hacked it to where it comes with all the shinies and then like every single Pokemon at the start of the game. And I saw one of those copies and I bought it for $50. I think $55, pretty expensive. Just because I wanted to see all the Pokemon, see what all there was to offer, because I never really accessed the internet much at this time, so I didn't really know what Bulbapedia was or anything like that. So I really want to see what all these creatures were. I was kind of in a lazy mood and didn't want to discover them for myself. So I bought an unlocked copy for about $55. Played it. I actually have never beaten Platinum. Yeah, so I played Platinum, and I got to Snow Point City, and I quit playing. Well, one of my elementary school friends was having a yard sale, so I decided, hey, I'll come by and I'll buy a few things. And you know, this was back when Bakugan was a huge thing. I'm pretty sure you guys remember that. That was amazing. And I bought a few of his Bakugan, like the first generation, like Bakugan, from like the original Battle Brawler series. But also, he had a couple of video games, and one of them was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team. So I was like, hey, it's that game I first bought. When we buy this copy, you know, he's selling it for like, I think like $2 or $5. I mean, it was really cheap. So I was like, you know what, it's pretty cheap. I'll just buy it, and I'll give this game a go instead, because, you know, I think I've, you know, experienced what all there is to offer about the main series game. So let me play one of the older ones and see what I think about, like, you know, play this spin-off and see what I think about it. So I played through Blue Rescue Team. I loved it. It was an amazing experience. I got all the way to the end. I beat, spoilers, Rayquaza, and yeah, and I was playing as Charizard, and my partner was Feraligatr, and to this day, I haven't maxed out the level 100. I played the crap out of that game. Very fun. And then, anyways, later in the later on in the timeline, Pokemon Heart Gold was about to come out. And like I said, at this time, I didn't pay attention to anything like really on the internet. I kind of didn't know what CeraVe or Bulbapedia or anything like that was. So I only found out about Heart Gold probably about 2 weeks before it came out in a commercial ad, I believe it was. And I got really hyped about that. I didn't know it was a remake because, like I said, I was like young. At this point, I think I was, I don't know how old I was, but anyways, so I didn't know it had been core leaked or anything. Although I do remember at one point seeing the infamous leak of Pokemon Dawn Gold and Dusk Silver. Well, I had that on the screen. You guys probably remember that. But yeah, and I had my granny gave me Pokemon Heart Gold for Christmas with the Pokewalker and everything. I loved it. The Pokewalker was such a cool feature. I used it so much. And in fact, eventually found out about the exploit where you can like shake it and it like automatically does steps for you. I exploited that quite a bit too much. So yeah, and I really enjoyed it, and I started to like it more than the other games I played. Well, anyways, I had this friend, and we were big Pokemon fans. He's a friend from church, and he and I were, you know, like I said, big Pokemon fans, and we were doing this like flag football program at some other church, and we found out recently about a new Pokemon Ranger game coming, Guardian Signs. So we were very hyped about that, and on one day, you know, the day Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs came out, I was like, hey, because we were at practice, I was like, hey, are you gonna get Ranger Guardian Signs? And he was like, yeah, I'll get it. We both got it. We both really enjoyed it. Really awesome experience. And then, so through that game, I found out about the Pokemon Ranger series, and then I bought the first game on the DS, only to find out that it was like a really bent copy. I don't know what the heck the person did to the copy, but it was like bent. So like it gets kind of jammed if you put it in your DS system. So I played it for like twice, for like a total of like 30 minutes, and I haven't touched it since. So yeah, that's that tier. And anyways, I had another elementary school friend who we were huge Pokemon fans. He did a lot of the TCG, but he started to get into the video games. So when Pokemon Black and White got announced, we both were really excited. You know, 5th generation is upon us. It's time. It is actually time. And so he decided he'd buy white and I'd buy black. So so on release date, we both got the games on release date, and we did the thing where we would play, and once we beat a gym leader, we fight. Like, where we'd be like, we play kind of like in real life, like IRL rivals. So as soon as we beat each gym, we'd fight each other. And then eventually we got to the ultimate showdown of Reshiram versus Zekrom. And, you know, sometimes out of these matches I'd win, sometimes he'd win. Yeah, so, and after that, we did multiple battles with Reshiram and Zekrom, a lot like the heroes from the Ideals and Truths heroes from Pokemon Black and White, which is really cool. And yeah, then that same, and you know, Pokemon Black became my favorite Pokemon game. I love it to death. The story, N was a very cool character. I loved Ghetsis as a villain, and you know, in the world was just so, it was so gorgeous as well for just, you know, Generation 5, you know, DS, new graphics and everything. It was just so gorgeous. It was an amazing game. Loved it to death. Although I wish they had more post game, which of course later on, which I'll get to eventually, that does happen. But anyways, that same friend that I bought Blue Rescue Team from, me and him had a birthday party together. Like he came over for my birthday party, and we actually went to the store that sold old, like antique-ish, like older games for a relatively cheap price. And I bought Fire Red while I was there. Like he gave me like I think it was a gift card for the store, and I spent it on Fire Red, and I bought that for I think it was $10. And I got home, played it, and I actually have never beaten it. It's one of those games I played and I just never got back to it. I also bought Emerald around this time as well, unrelated to the birthday party, and I played that and I never beat it either, just for the same reason. I don't know if like I'm missing out too much, because I mean, you know, I know what happens in the games, but eventually I do have plans to beat them. Whenever that'll happen, I don't know. But anyways, as I graduate from, I believe it was 5th grade, so graduating from elementary school, my parents said that they would get me something big for my birthday, you know, a new game system, you know, something big, you know, celebrate, because this is a big achievement, you know, graduating from elementary school. So I told them, hey, they released a Pokemon White, like a special edition, like bundle kind of thing. So I told them, give me that. So they did. They got me the Pokemon White DSi with the Pokemon White copy, as well as the what do you call it? The little like cartridge holder kind of thing, little case that holds all your cartridges. Came with that as well. And yeah, and I played White. I enjoyed it. And then at this point, I believe it was, my friend traded over his Zekrom, and as well as his like Cobalion, Terrakion, and Virizion over to my version of Pokemon Black. Anyways, fast forward about a year, and at this point, well, Black and White, I started to pay more attention to because of the I started like to read magazines, not like Korokoro or anything, but like actual magazines. Like I'd go to my local retail store and purchase a magazine about every month, and I'd read up on the Pokemon Black and White news. So when Black and White 2 came out, I discovered like Cerebi and Molpede and all that stuff. So I discovered Korokoro, and I started paying attention to those leaks, very in depth. And also remember at one point, White Kyurem's battle theme got leaked on Tumblr, and that, when I listened to that, I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing, because I was a big Godzilla fan, so, and you know, that battle theme kind of sounds a lot like Godzilla at the beginning, so I was like, what, Godzilla? Is that you? So, yeah, and White 2 was the first game I ever pre-ordered. I pre-ordered it, I got the commemorative coin, which is not in the picture because I don't know where it went. I have it, it's at this house. You know, I didn't lose it or anything, but I did lose it. I don't know where it was. And yeah, so I don't know where that went, but whoops. So yeah, that's around here somewhere. And I played White 2. I loved it so much. I think it's like the near perfect Pokemon game. It's my favorite game, still is today, and it's just amazing. Perfect sequel. Ghetsis actually tries to kill you, like, hello. And just absolutely insane. In the post game was absolutely massive with the musical and the subway and the Pokemon World Tournament and the Joint Avenue, which a lot of people say, you know, Pokemon World Tournament was their favorite thing, but actually I like Joint Avenue the most. That was a really awesome feature, and I really wish they bring back the Nintendo DS Wi-Fi functions in some form or fashion, because I would really love to play Joint Avenue again, because that was so much fun. Oh my gosh, that was so good. Yeah, just absolutely incredible. And in White 2, I actually started to get competitive with the game. Not necessarily with like Ivy and Eevee, such and such, but like I paid attention to nature. So I started to get a little competitive, and I made this team in White 2, and I actually never lost a single match, and I'm not lying. I did about 60 matches, I believe. I didn't lose a single one of them. I had a very powerful team. In fact, I still remember to this day, and I think I still have a replay of it too. In White 2, I had to save replay function. Where somebody had like a Thundurus, Therian Form, a Registeel, and a Regirock, and I one-shot every single one of them with a Lucario that I had in my team. Like, that team was so amazing. Oh my gosh. And then when X and Y came out, of course, Mega Evolution was introduced and the team wasn't so good anymore. But yeah. So anyways, moving on. From White 2, we go on to what I just was talking about. Pokemon X and Y. I was there, I woke up, I heard about the announcement in December. I was like, you know, January 8th, we had a special announcement, huge announcement. I was like, ooh, it's time. Hoenn remakes, let's go, it's time. And then the announcement came. I woke up at 6:45 to watch it, and that just blew me away. Just Pokemon X and Y, new generation, absolutely just like, wait, what? Excuse me. And it just, I cried. I was just so excited. And I paid attention to Core leaks and everything really closely. And I got really hyped at E3 when they revealed a Fairy type. Also got really hyped when they unveiled Ninfia or Sylveon. And I remember everybody thinking that Xerneas and Yveltal were light and sound types. And Yveltal was a sound type because it was the only thing that made a sound in the trailer aside from Pikachu. I was like I actually believed it at that point, but now that I look back at it, I was like, that is such a stupid idea. But yeah, as you can see in the picture, I did pre-order the game and actually went to the midnight release, a midnight launch of the game, and I got it there, and I got home, and I actually planned on doing a playthrough of the game. I did, as you can go on my channel, you can find it probably. I did one playthrough part, and then I decided, nah, I can't. It's too hard to record because I didn't have a capture card, and I still don't. Fun. Yeah, when they announced Pokemon X, my birthday was about a month after the announcement, so I was like, my parents need to get me a 3DS XL, so we got it. We went to Olive Garden, and there it was. I had a 3DS XL, and I was ready to play this game, and I bought Ocarina of Time 3D later that day, and my gosh, that game is difficult. But anyways, that's off topic. And before X, I also bought a few other games like Pokemon Stadium and stuff, and they aren't in the picture as well. I don't know where they are, but they're still here somewhere. I haven't sold a single Pokemon game of my own. And then of course recently I bought Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, and I played it for a long time, and then I quit because I got sidetracked with school and stuff. And I think I'm at the Poliwrath boss. I got stuck there. Fun. But yeah, Super Mystery Dungeon is really good. Super Mystery Dungeon is really good so far, although the difficulty curve is absolutely ridiculous. It's like friggin'. It's like a Shimmy Going Tensei had no grinding. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyways, yeah, and moving on from the games themselves. Oh yeah, also forgot to say that today I purchased Pokemon Yellow on the Virtual Console, and I had a grand time. I've played for about 4 hours already. I beat Brock with just an Nidorino 2 OP, please nerf. And that game's just so different, just the mechanics and everything. Like, Gust is a normal type move. I can't get my head like to process that. It's just like, wait, what? Shouldn't be flying. I'm using Gust on like these Caterpies and stuff. I'm like, why aren't they taking super effective ×2 damage? I'm just like, what? Oh yeah, and also in X and Y, I got competitive as well, like fully competitive EV, IV braiding, all that stuff. Oh yeah, and I bought Omega Ruby as well. Obviously, before Super Mission Dungeon, I pre-ordered Omega Ruby, and I got that poster here, as you can see. And I actually lost my Omega Ruby copy a couple months ago, and I really hope I can find it because that White 2 team of mine is on there, as well as my friends Zekrom and Cobalion and Terrakion and Brazion, and just a bunch of Pokemon all the Pokemon I've had experiences with over the years. It's just, they're in that copy, and I hope I can find it. I don't think anybody stole it. Hopefully they didn't. I think I just lost it somewhere. I don't know, but hopefully I can find it. If not, then I'll be sad. I had like 30 boxes of competitive Pokemon. It was pretty crazy. Also, I actually had my original Pokemon Pearl team on that as well. So yeah, that's very precious to me. Like a level 81 Krogunk and all that good stuff. Nice and powerful. So, yeah, moving on. As you can see, I also didn't just buy the games. I also bought, at an antique store, actually. They had the Pokemon gold-plated cards still in the box. I was like, what? Still in the box, unwrapped. So I was like, dude, this is a wrap. No pun intended, but holy crap. So I bought Poliwrath and Togepi. I think they also had a third one as well. I don't think I bought it. Yeah, I did. I think it was Jigglypuff. I bought that. I don't know where it is. But yeah, all of them are still unsealed. I don't plan on opening them anytime soon. That's just so cool. And of course, I got the Mew event card recently for the 20th anniversary event. And I bought a lot of Pokemon cards, like a ton. As you can see, I bought like a structure deck for Next Destinies with the Reshiram deck. And I bought one of my friends, that same friend that we got Guardian Times together, he kind of got tired of the trading card game. So he gave me every single one of his cards, and that's one of his things. And that little album you see there, ton of old school cards, including Moltres and base set Moltres, a bunch of Kadabras, Zabras, just it's crazy. And it also came out of a, you can see there, it's a little fuzzy, thanks iPad camera, but there's a Pokemon Gotta Catch 'Em All stamp of Pikachu. I don't know where the heck that originated, but it's in there, so hey, why not? And yeah. And in the background there is like with a Sceptile, or Sceptile, however you want to say it. Spirit Link, that was a pack I had got recently through a giveaway, thanks to the Yellow Swellow YouTube channel. Check him out, he's a pretty cool guy. And yeah, it's pretty cool cards in there. Right now I just collect Pokemon TCG cards, but I may get like competitive of them. I do play the online game occasionally, so, you know, that's that. And there's 2 tins there full of cards. Tons and tons. I bought the Arceus tin and a Suicune tin. The Suicune tin, the one with the shiny Suicune. And the Arceus one with the level X Arceus promo. And there's just a bunch of cards in that. And there's also a whole freaking little package, like mail thing, and it's full of cards. And I think there's more cards somewhere else, but yeah, I have a ton of cards. I have like the base set Charizard, which isn't the base set Charizard, or else I'd be rich. But that was like the second. It's like they're reprinted like second edition Charizard, but you know, pretty cool. I have base set basic Gengar. I have Japanese Giovanni's Nidoking EX. Like I was just, or not EX. EXs weren't in base set last time. Wait, no, they weren't. Yeah. And I have a Dart Blastoise and Japanese Dart Blastoise, and just a bunch of really cool cards. I remember in elementary school we actually used to trade cards, and then we used to like trade Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon cards all the time, like at the playground. And actually, at one point they outlawed Pokemon games and trading cards and stuff being at the school because they don't want anything to get stolen, of course. And but we kind of secretly still kept doing it. And I never really lost one thing, except for one thing. It was in Bakugan. I did lose it one day, and it's gone forever. It's the first Bakugan I ever got. No, it wasn't. It was like the second Bakugan I ever got. But rest in peace. It's probably still in the playground somewhere. Probably somebody has it now. It's lost in the maze of that playground somewhere. If anybody's wondering if they're a Bakugan fan or if they have knowledge, it was a Helix Dragonoid Pyrus. But anyways, that's off topic from Pokemon, of course. But yeah, so that's my timeline of my interest in Pokemon. It's changed my life. There's one thing I don't want to get really too specific about that happened about 6 years ago, and it's really what truly changed my life. And it revolved around Pokemon, but it's a little personal for me. But this is one of my favorite gaming franchises of all time, because it's just so perfect. Like, you're collecting monsters and battling them and trading and stuff. It's just so satisfying. And thank you, Satoshi Tajiri, for being an autistic person with a fandom of collecting, or else this would have never happened. We'd be stuck with who knows what. Like, if it wasn't for Pokemon, I'd probably be a much bigger Yu-Gi-Oh fan than I am now. Like, I am still a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan, but nowhere near much now. I kind of quit for a little bit, so I'm like really behind. Like I quit like when Pendulums like first came out. It's like I have no idea at all like what the new cards are and what they do. But yeah, still, Pokemon is a really awesome series. I want to thank Satoshi Tajiri, of course. Before I say that, speaking of Satoshi Tajiri, the Pokemon anime, I've watched that as well. I've seen every single movie, I've seen every single special, Pokemon Chronicles, whatever it was, I've seen it all. Every single thing. And I saw the anime, I think I saw the entire first season, and I've seen bits and pieces of the other seasons. I saw the first Hoenn season, and I saw the first season, like, in general, like the first Kanto season. And I think it's all the Diamond and Pearl entire series as well. And then I saw bits and pieces of Black and White. And I really want to watch X and Y, but I don't know. I'll get to it eventually when I get around to it. I want to thank Satoshi Tajiri for making this amazing franchise. I want to thank Junichi Masuda for making these games that have just inspired us all. And I want to thank Shigeru Omori and Ken Sugimori and I forgot his name, because it's like, I forgot his name, but the guy that was in Pokemon Direct, the president of Pokemon, the company. Thank you all for making such an amazing franchise that I love still to this day, and probably will for a very long time, if not forever. Thank you for these 20 years of experience and adventure, and I hope to see another 20 years. And I'm very excited for Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, especially since it seems to be like, the 20th anniversary game. Like, it seems to be like it's gonna have like, I wouldn't say references, but it's got like, it's gonna be like all the games combined, like not like region wise, but it's gonna have like all the mechanics and everything. I will say this: please bring back Walking with Pokemon. That was so cool in Yellow and Heart Gold Soul Silver. Please bring that back. That'd be amazing. Anyways, I want to thank the Pokemon Company, Game Freak, everyone for making such a great franchise that I love and people love to this day. And I hope to see another 20 years of Pokemon goodness. Thank you very much. I love this a lot. I love Pokemon. I love it so much. It's such a good franchise. So thank you. And I'm just really excited for Pokemon Sun and Moon. So anyways, once again, as I've said a billion times, of course, but I can't say it enough, thank you for making Pokemon become such a huge, awesome franchise. Gotta catch 'em all.